Welcome students to the part 3 of golden rules for making patterns using nested loop. I would recommend to see the previous two videos on the same topic. The links are there in the description. You will understand these rules and tricks better only if you have followed the previous two videos. Now, this is a pattern of numbers. Now, at a glance, if you are seeing it, you will not find any ready visible pattern in it. But the moment I draw a line here, it's going to be easy for you to identify. Now, what is happening here? We can see in each row there are two parts in which the sequences of numbers are stated. Now in the first one, we cannot make out because it is just 5 here, but later it is 1 to 5. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, it is 4, 5, then 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can see that in each row there are two sequences of numbers. Now in such cases, the golden rule establishes in a similar way. But we need to have 3 columns, unlike the previous two patterns where we have seen only 2 columns. Now what we are going to do with the 3 columns? We are just going to represent this pattern only in this fashion, in the tabular fashion, and then we are going to derive some equations. I'll call it equations because we are going to limit the initialization and the last final value till which the loop is going to run. So we are going to put some equation there. Now what we can see in this, for that let me write one by one. In the very beginning, like if you can see the left part of the red line there, it is simple, and we can observe that it is 5 to 5. The next one goes in a similar fashion, but this time it is 4 to 5. Then it goes as 3 to 5. Then comes 2 to 5, and then at the end it is 1 to 5. Now in this, a part of it is sorted. Part of it is sorted means the left portion of the line, the slanted line, I have represented. Now what to do for the rest of the part? Now in a similar fashion, what I am going to now do is, I am going to put this for the next series also. Now what do I find? I find 1, 2, 5. Now why 1 to 5? Because in this case, left side of the line it is 5 to 5 and right side of the line it is 1 to 5. Now what comes next? It is 1, 2, 4. Then comes 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 2. And then comes 1, 2, 1. Now if you notice, this one and this one, I have just written it to give a general structure. Now what we are going to do? Next is to figure out which part of the column is changing, because the part which is changing, we usually write that in the leftmost column. So for that, Now, luckily, if you see here, in this part, the final value is fixed because every time in this column, 5 is the ending number and the starting number is gradually changing. And in a similar way, in this column, the third column, the starting number is 1, whereas the final number is changing. And if you see, the final number here and the starting number here, they are matching. So, it won't be any problem if I consider this as 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So far there is no problem in representing the pattern in a tabular fashion. Now what I want next, I want this to get into a shape of a loop, and in that case this leftmost column is going to represent the outermost loop, and the next two columns are going to represent the inner loops. That means this time we are going to see that one loop is going to contain two other loops inside it. So let us fix some names for the control variable. So I am fixing it as I, and this as j, and this as k. Now the rule is the same. Here, in case of the leftmost column, we have to see it top to down. So what shall I write for I? I should write the value of I is starting from starting from 5 going till 1. Why 1? Here you can see this is starting from 5 going till 1. And how it is progressing? It is decreasing by 1 every time. I've told you to see it from top to down. So top to down, when it goes from this row to the next row, what we can see here is it is decreasing by 1 every time. Now these columns are to be seen in horizontal way for each row. Now what general idea we can derive here? From the previous two examples and previous two videos, you must have noticed that we used to give a generalized structure to this j. So what general structure to j can be given in this? If you see this one, it is 5 to 5, we cannot figure out here, but 4 to 5, here we can figure out that the value from a lower number is going to higher value. Now what is happening? When the value of I is 5, j is running from 5 to 5. Value of I is 4, then it is running from 4 to 5. In a similar fashion, when it is 3, the value of I is 3, the j is 3 to 5. Now in a similar way, 2 to 5 and then 1 to 5. So what shall I write for j? I should write j equals to, I should write respective I. Respective I means whatever is the current value of I, from there the value of the j is starting. And till when it is, till where it is going? It is going till 5 every time. And what you can see, in these cases the numbers are increasing. So what I'll write? Plus 1. Now in a similar way, now I will see what happens in case of the column k. Now in column k, it is starting from 1 for sure every time, but it is resting at 5 when the value of I is 5, resting at 4 when the value of I is 4. So how do I write it? I don't need much explanation because in the previous videos we have already discussed. Now k is equals to, it's going to start from 1 and go till I. Now in a very easy manner, what you can figure out here is we have represented this pattern in a tabular fashion and then in this form. Now, if you notice, I have written this line in a little left indented, left margin. Why? Because this I is representing the outer loop and J and K are the inner loops inside it. So now what is left? We need to code it. So I'm now going to code it and then I will run the program to show you the output. As usual, I have already written part of the program already so that I can write the rest of the code easily and fast. Now you can notice here how many variables we require. We require 3 variables. It is I, J and K. Now I'll write the loop I equals to 5. Now what we have discussed here, it should be greater than equals to 1. Why greater than equals to 1? Because from larger number it is going towards a smaller number. And for same reason it should be I minus minus. You can notice the code which I am now going to write is going to be fitting in inside here. So for J, I'll write J is going to start from I, J less than equals to 5, J plus plus, and inside this I'll write system.out.print because I don't want to change the line once the number is printed. So I'll print J. In a similar fashion now I'm going to code for K. So K is going to be 1, K less than equals to I, K plus plus. Next is again system.out.print and this time it should be K because the next series of number is going to be obtained from the control variable K. Now after printing both the sequences, I need to break the line, and to do so I will use println. My code is complete. Now next is what? I'm now going to compile the code and see whether some error is there or not. It has compiled. It is showing no syntax errors. Now I will check whether the output comes as we expected. Now we can see what we wanted and what we are ultimately having. So if you match it, you are going to get the same output here. Now a very interesting twist in this. Like in the previous video, the second part video, I have shown you how to separate these numbers by putting a space. So in this also, if I put some space, then the numbers are going to be separated. So where shall I put the space? I should put space here as well as here in both the print statements. Now I'm running it. Now the same pattern has come, just the numbers are little away from each other. Now one more twist to it. 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 Now one more twist to it if I don't print the number j, in place of printing the number j, if I just put a blank space extra. Earlier I had one blank space, now in place of j I have introduced another blank space within double quotes. Now see, it is going to magically turn into something completely different. What you can notice, this is a right indented pattern. Usually we think that these patterns are very difficult to make, but it is not at all like that. You actually should consider this pattern and fill rest of the numbers according to your wish. With a little more practice you will get a grip on it, and then you will easily be able to make such patterns. I can show you one more on the same. If in place of printing K, I put a star, then let us see what happens. I have put a star in place of K. So the numbers disappeared, and in place of the numbers, it came with stars. Now, one more interesting thing. Please see the video properly, and if you require to repeat the video, repeat it and see what we have now found in the output screen. It is a pyramid. It is inverted pyramid. In a similar fashion, we can make one standing pyramid also, depending on the situation. So I will show you more magical things on this. Thank you.